Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk to you about how to properly use a Buret. I know many of you have probably used a Buret in the past, but I just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page with how they work, how to read the measurements from a Buret, and how to clean them. So the first thing, let's take a look at this Buret. So in your lab drawer, you're going to have two 50 milliliter Burets. Let's see if I can focus in here at the top. This might be a little challenging. The numbers are so faint. So at the top of the Buret, I know this is pretty faint on this one, but you should be able to see the letters TD. I wonder if I put a little, let's see, try this. TD and 20 degrees Celsius. That says that if you're using this Buret properly, you're going to be able to deliver 50 milliliters of solution if you're at 20 degrees Celsius. And then at the bottom, of course, is the 50 milliliter mark there, and the top is the 0 milliliter mark. All right, so numbers go increasing as you go down the Buret. So the first thing we're going to want to do is rinse the Buret. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the stopcock is closed, and I'm going to add a small amount of solution to the Buret. Now we want to rinse with the solution that we're going to actually use in our Buret. Today I'm just practicing with some blue solution. It shows up nicely on the camera. We're going to be doing some titrations with sodium hydroxide, so you'd want to be rinsing with sodium hydroxide. You don't want to be rinsing with water. Maybe you rinse the first time with water, but after that, you want to be rinsing with the solution that you're putting into the Buret. That makes sure that you're not diluting the sodium hydroxide or whatever it may be in any way with water, if you were to only rinse with water. And you're also making sure that if something is going to dissolve in that sodium hydroxide, that you're getting it out initially, okay? Sometimes there are certain things that will more readily dissolve in sodium hydroxide compared to water. If those are stuck in your Buret by some sort of crazy chance, you've now eliminated that possibility of contamination. Okay, so I filled up my Buret just a little bit, and I'm going to open up the stopcock and drain a little bit of the solution. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tip the Buret with the stopcock closed and into a waste container, and I'm going to let the solution sort of wash over the walls of the Buret, and then eventually, and I'm rotating the Buret as well, and eventually we're going to just drain all of the solution out. But that's a great way of cleaning, making sure you're cleaning every part of the inside of that Buret. Okay? So we'll drain that. I'm going to use my towel to make sure I don't get any solution on the outside of the Buret, and then put it back in the Buret stand. Right. Still have a little bit of solution in the tip, that's fine. You can empty that. Okay. So now we're ready to take a measurement. We're ready to do some experiment. So I'm going to make sure the stopcock is closed and fill up my Buret. You may want to use a funnel to do this if that makes you feel more comfortable. One of the things that kind of drives me a little crazy is when people worry about starting a titration at 0. You don't need to do that. You can start the titration or whatever it is at any point along this Buret, and it saves you a step. You don't have to worry about getting 0.00. That's really challenging to do. Okay, so skip that. Just get that out of your mind right now. So I filled up my Buret with my blue solution. I'm gonna wait a minute. There's some bubbles that come up. You'll see those as you're, filling your Buret. There's a little drip on the outside of my Buret tip here, so I'm gonna clean those off. I'm also going to open that Buret one more time to make sure that I've filled up the tip of the Buret, because this Buret is calibrated to include that volume. So once I have a full burette with a tip that is full, I'm going to take a reading at the meniscus of the burette itself. Now, in your drawer, you've got these really handy burette reading cards right there. It's basically just a business card with a dark line on it. That dark line is going to highlight the meniscus of the solution for you and allow you to get a really nice measurement. Very simple tool, but it's really helpful. So let's see if I can focus on this. There we go. Okay, so here's no burette reading card. And here's with the burette reading card. You see how that darkens up that meniscus? Just reflecting there. And that really allows you to take a good reading on that burette. Okay, so I am going to actually come up with a number here. So we are just under the 10 mil line, 10.1, 10.10, I would say. It is a little hard with this blue solution. So one of the things you're going to want to do is make sure your eyes are at level with the meniscus. If you are looking, let's see if I can demonstrate this. You're looking down. If you're looking down, you're going to actually read a different value than if you're looking up and if you're looking straight on. Okay, that's the parallax error. Alright, so I'm going to get my measurement 10.11. It's just a little bit below that line, just a smidge. So then if you're using a burette for a titration, you're going to open the stopcock, let some solution add into your beaker. That's pretty simple. You can fully open the stopcock, but you can also pull that back a little so that you're just going dropwise and just let that go. There's also a nice little trick where if you stop with a little bit of a bubble at the end of the burette tip, you see that? Just a smidge of a bubble right there. You can then use your wash bottle, add some water, spray that into your beaker where you're doing a titration. You've added essentially half a drop of solution. When you get really close to an endpoint of a titration, that's a really nice tip to make sure you get the exact endpoint. But you also want to make sure that you're rinsing down your beaker as well when you do that. Okay? Let's say we're at the end of our titration and we want to clean out our burette. So at the end of the day, you are going to want to rinse with water. All right, so you can empty out your burette. I'm going to just take mine out of the stand, empty it out, open up the stopcock so that all of that solution drains from the tip. That's a nice fast way of doing that. You could also just open the stopcock over a waste beaker and let it drain that way. And then I'm going to take my burette, use my wash bottle, and just rinse out, making sure that the stopcock is closed. Rinse out into the waste beaker, rinse a few more times into the waste beaker. Easy peasy.